good size here. Let's go, I think our sequence over here, let's go to sequence 0. Because each one of these was originally set up to do 8, but we only run 4 on it. And, you know, none of this is all that great because, you know, this is stuff we originally threw together to get into China. So let's go over this one.
More?
And yeah, a little bit more. So, when this thing first starts up, when the operator first starts up, we're going to go through and do some setups, you know, initialize some stuff to 0 and times and weights. And then we fall into this loop here. Now go down a little bit. We'll have a starting socket because all the operator stations are basically the same code, but we just changed the starting socket number. And the count's always 4. So that way it was set up for 8. So that was my hack to try to get it back to something we could use. Okay, so socket number is going to end up, I think it's just bounce it back up. Okay, so go back up here. In our initial thing, this piece here on our sequence 0, all this thing is doing is double click on him. And then go to the block diagram. Okay, so this is how we tie back into what just happened on the PXI side. This guy, depending on the socket number, because we're going to drop the socket number in there that we're actually running, and we're going to go pull the network shared variables out of the engine to see what the PXI was telling us to do. If there was a trigger, we're going to do something. We're going to do whatever the type is, and we're going to do whatever with the message, and if it's a wait, we're going to use that as the milliseconds to wait. So this is your main tie-in back to the PXI. Okay, so, and if you drop down on that, you can see you get one for every socket. So there's a shared variable for each one. So the PXI, reentrant wise, stuffed its data in, and this is where it's going to go back out. Okay, so you can close that. This will come up again, either way. So in this particular sequence 0, all we're doing is checking to see if that socket, we fall into a for loop, starting with the socket number that this operator station is for. Might be 0, might be 4. It's going to go through the 4 sockets that are part of this operator station. It's going to go grab what the messages were from the PXI. It's going to see if any of them were a type 2. And it's going to see if any of the wait milliseconds is over 30 seconds. Those two things are true, then basically what's really going to happen is over here, we'll see the socket 0 enable disables are all going to be toggled. So you remember, they don't use it very often, but remember when in the script, you can put in a special wait. There's 2 different kinds of waits in the script. One is strictly a wait. You have no idea what's going on. Everything just quits for whatever milliseconds. There's also an operator wait, which if you trigger that, what will happen is it will disable, go back to your front panel. It's going to disable whatever other tabs aren't selected. So if one of those goes into its wait, so go to this one, we're going to pop up a message and we're going to spin down through whatever wait we sent over in that shared variable. Yeah. And the operator station will sit there and do that, and it'll disable the other head or the other sockets, so you can't do anything. You can't. So you're supposed to be watching. The idea was that you threw in this wait, like you'd tune a channel, tell them to watch video, and then this would come on, and it'd have 10 seconds or whatever you sent over. These would be disabled, so they can't just go off and go do something else, or get 3 of them up that they're supposed to be watching, and that sort of thing. So that's all this. You can go back to this one. Block diagram. So that's all this is doing. So that sequence 0 is just checking to see if anybody is supposed to be locking up the other ones, disabling them. Okay, so you can go to the next one. Yeah, I can probably do this in 10 minutes. So you can go over that way a little bit. Okay, so now we're on the second sequence. That was the first sequence. Now we dropped in our socket number, and we're still on our socket number, and is that socket number less than, so it's okay, we can run that. So go back up a little bit. Okay, so this is the socket number, and now this is actually for socket 0. If you double click this one, it takes you here, so you should see socket, and I'm actually putting that number in.
Oh.
So those actually should look right to you, so you know you're actually got the right data. So that tells you you're tied into the right shared variable. And so go back to the block diagram. So that's where we just check the number, and I throw up the string, so that's supposed to match. Now this guy here, you can double click him again. He's the same one. You can go to the thing. Okay, so he's just the same one, so that's going to be coming from the PXI. You can close that. Close that. So now we have, that was our trigger. So we're in socket 0. Was socket 0 triggered? This was our type. This is our message. And this is the wait, if there was one. And then we can go over here. So socket 0 now, that's the tab control itself. Now, on whatever type it was, so drop down on this one. So it could be a type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 8. So if you go back up here, click, and then click on the sideways arrow. As you scroll through them, you'll see there it was an okay, a yes, no, a wait, no message. So depending on the type we sent over, so let's just pretend we sent an okay, which would have been a 0. We're sending in our message and our wait. So go over to this guy, and well, he's being done by okay. So here's your 8 different types. So if it's just an okay, then our message, double click on that guy. Our message is written into that. We've selected the okay. We throw our message up there, and then click back over here. Click on this OK button. So that's our OK button. Click back over here. That OK button's going into your pass-fail done. Pull him over. Go to your block diagram. Pull him over. So now you can see, and this is a common one again, because we're going to drop our socket number in. So here's where we're going to get tied back into that PXI, because we have a pass and a done, and here's where it gets the pass and the done, because that was just an okay. So once they hit the okay button, and the okay has to be true, the okay will have to be true for him to come out of his while. Go to 5. We'll keep this all together. So we're on the 6th one.
What's the next sequence?
Disabled. Kind of had a timer in there.
Wait, what's forcing that okay to be true?
You
clicked on something, right?
right. Go back over here to this. Click on that. So only the operator can set it true.
No, but I mean, if they're not hitting it, it's false, right?
Right.
So why is it not just going?
It is writing it into it. This guy, go back to the operator call, because we're back to where he's waiting. So they're not clicking it. We're running through this all the time. It's false. Both of those are false. It's not a pass.
Okay, so this totally explains the factory then. It's got to be some kind of time thing with that done. Because if the done says is not reset, it reads that that's saying false.
Yeah, well, I got it. Let me get to that. I think I know where that is. So go back to the operator call, not the operator station, but the original one we had. You can drop this if you want to. Drop them down. Okay, so this
In the
guy-
window you had it.
Oh, right. Yeah, you could have done that. Like that. Okay, so remember, we're in this loop waiting for that done. So he's reading it too. They're both sitting there reading it, and only until he hits the button will that go done true and show up over here for the, and it's all through the shared variable